So first we'll hear from Mississippi State University head coach Joe Moorhead. Coach Moorhead.
Yeah, certainly want to thank the bowl committee and your representatives for an unbelievable experience. I've had the opportunity throughout my career to be at the Rose Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl, a bunch of other ones, but the entire experience of the venue, everything that Opryland has to offer, the setup of the day where you get football in the morning, you get time to prepare, and then there's a bunch of good balance of events and free times for the players and the coaches. And the city of Nashville has been unbelievable, and I know it's just been a great bowl experience for the team. Excited to build off the momentum of our Egg Bowl win and win the 3 of our last 4, and signing a great early recruiting class in December, and obviously playing a great team, very well coached, very talented, and excited to get to tomorrow and play the game.
And now we'll have a few words from University of Louisville head coach Scott Satterfield.
I just reiterate the same thing. We're just honored to be here. Man, what a great experience for our football team and our players. Our fans, we're only 2.5 hours away, so they're excited about it as well. Opportunity to play postseason, number one, is obviously a reward for our football team doing some good things throughout the season. And for us, coming into the season, probably wasn't many people that thought we were even going to be in the postseason. But for what we were able to accomplish this year with our staff and our players, man, I'm really excited about that. I've heard great things about this bowl, and it's all been true. We've had a great experience this week. All the events, everybody's been so hospitable. It's just been an awesome experience for all our guys. Looking forward to playing a football game now. Many days here. So I'm trying to, this morning I was thinking about, what day is it? As football coaches, you're trying to figure out, Friday, Saturday, like today's a Friday for us. So, we're excited about that and get ready to play a football game. And we know we're going against a great football team here. Coach Moorhead has done a great job with that program. And, so we're just excited to get going. Appreciate everybody.
Okay, we're going to open it up for questions, but if you'll raise your hand, we'll get you a microphone because we are transcribing the news conference. So if you have a question, you raise your hand, we'll get a mic to you.
Coach Satterfield, obviously, I think a couple weeks ago you mentioned you wanted these guys to have fun in their bowl prep, and they've had fun here in Nashville, but have you had to talk to them at all about kind of balancing that with also knowing when you step on the football field, you have to be pretty focused on what's going on?
Yeah, it's you certainly have to be focused, and we talked about that. I want them to enjoy the whole experience here, and particularly I think the first couple of days, you're a little bit more lax. Let them enjoy a little bit more of their free time there, and but when it's time to meet, when it's time to practice, you have to focus, and we talked about that. In Louisville before we came down, these guys have done a good job with that. And then as you get closer to the game, you can certainly dial back. The more of the free time and more of the focus time has to come into play, and so. But our guys have done a good job with that, and and hopefully today will be more, getting back to like a normal during the season, like a Friday type day, and then obviously tomorrow, is a normal game day. But our guys have enjoyed it. They've handled it well, and it's been a good week.
Joe, just what would it mean for you guys to get a win in this bowl game? Obviously, that'd be your second straight winning season, and what would that do for momentum going into the offseason?
I think it'll be huge, and as Coach Satterfield alluded to earlier, the reward of winning 6 games or more in the regular season, having the opportunity to play in the postseason, not only is it valuable, for the opportunity to end your season and the senior season with a win, but the developmental aspect of it, so the entire bowl experience of, back at Starkville at Mississippi State, of getting our young guys a bunch of reps and getting them developed, to me that was invaluable. And then coming here and, getting prepared for the game. But, with, like I mentioned earlier, with all the positive momentum and all the good things we have going on, to have the opportunity to, finish it and, send these seniors off on the right way, it would mean a ton to me personally, mean a lot to the team and a lot to the program as well.
Scott, you've been really successful as a head coach in bowl games. Can you pinpoint why that may be?
I think we have some good teams at App State. It's obviously you can't put a pinpoint one thing or two things maybe. I think a combination of good teams, matchups. The guys obviously have to be focused on what they're trying to do, and. I think, I guess there's several ways, to handle a bowl prep. As you look back, from the end of the season to the time you play your bowl game, there's a lot of different ways you can do it. I mean, you can go full pads and really get after your guys. Maybe with the young guys and that type of thing, you can be a little bit not as many reps with the older guys. You know, I just think there's a lot of different ways to do it. You know, the way we've chosen to do it is, you know, we're a little bit lighter, not as much tackling and that type of thing throughout there. We try to make the practices fun, you know, and enjoyable. And I think, you know, when the teams that get to the game that are excited about it, that are want to play and want to be there, I think usually end up playing pretty well.
Coach Moorhead, there have been reports about a fight between Garrett Schrader and Willie Gay.
Yep.
Could you address that for people who are, that's kind of been like the big talk amongst the fan base. Could you talk about whether that happened and how you addressed that with the team?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it was a you know, a team issue that we, you know, handled internally, and it's been resolved. You know, Garrett is here on site. He's at practice yesterday. He's in good spirits, and you know, more than anything, we want our focus to be, you know, like we mentioned earlier, on these seniors, on this team, and on this game. So it's a team matter. It was handled. You know, Garrett's here. He's at practice. You know, just saw him up on the hall eating a bag of licorice. So you know, things are going good.
All right, and then as a follow-up to that, a lot of people have obviously had strong opinions about what happened or what they think happened. And Willie, you know, I guess he's had a rough year being suspended for 8 games. And, you know, people see him as the guy who knocked the starting quarterback out of this big bowl game. What would you say to people who have developed a perception of Willie based on those 2 things? What would you say to defend Willie?
I don't think I need to, and I think, like I said, you know, we've addressed it as a team matter. It's been handled internally. You know, Willie and Garrett have talked to each other. You know, and we've, you know, like I said, we've addressed it. We moved on from it, and you know, want our focus to be on this team and this game, and you know, this great opportunity in front of us.
Scott, several of your guys talked about just this 3 weeks or bowl prep time just being a really big bonding time for the team, that it was different. They weren't hanging out with position groups. They hung out as a big group. How valuable has this been beyond just whatever happens in the game tomorrow for what you're building going forward?
Yeah, you know, I think that's been part of what we're trying to do here since we got here last December as a staff, and you know, really trying to, you know, create consistency, create trust and a bond, the chemistry between the team. When we started that last January, you know, we kind of just worked through all that. Ended up winning some games this year to be able to play have postseason. And part of postseason, you know, schools, they're done. There's not any other students there on campus. I mean, it's just your team. And so, you know, the time they were able to spend together has been awesome. You know, but creating that bond. You know, we have 27 seniors, so those guys will be gone after this. But these young guys, the ones that have experienced this, we want them to have hopefully enjoy it, and I think they have. We did a lot of things together as a team. You know, something that they'll aspire to work harder in the off season next year so they can get back here, you know, get back to another bowl game and have another successful season. So it's been great, the bonding that we've had, not only as players, but also the coaches with the players.
Scott, what is your quarterback play in? I mean, you played 2 in a lot of games this year, but towards the end of the season, it was mostly Mikhail's job.
Yeah, you know, Cunningham was going to start and play, and, you know, and Evan's going to be ready and available to go if he needs to play. You know, we've kind of been doing that all year. You know, and I said this beginning of last year, it was the season. I don't really care who the quarterback is. You know, whoever's playing, I want them to be able to move the football. And, you know, we're now at a point where both guys are healthy. You know, went through the middle of the season where, you know, Cunningham got dinged up and Evan was dinged up, and, you know, we had to play both. And so, you know, now Cunningham's healthy and, you know, he's ready to go, so he'll play, and, you know, we'll see how it goes.
Coach Stafford,
Yes.
earlier in the year, you talked a lot about when you got here, you wanted to build a culture. Now that you've been able to do that a little bit, you mentioned just the bonding these guys have had. How much does that help, even though it's 12 and a half months into your time here?
Yeah, I mean, it helps. I think every time you spend with your teammates, obviously helps. You're creating memories. You're creating that bond. You're creating, you know, something that will last for the rest of these guys' lives. And, you know, and I think the things that we're doing together, you know, it makes it stronger. I think, you know, so when you do face adversity, you know, you're not going to fold. You know, you're going to continue to fight. You're going to push through. And we all know you're going to face adversity. There's no question about that, you know, in life, but particularly on the football field, you know, when you're out there playing. And if you really feel good about your brothers beside you, you'll give everything. You'll lay it on the line for them, and that's part of creating that bond.
For both coaches, there have been a number of your colleagues who've said that the playoff diminishes the value of the bowl games outside the playoff. Do you feel like the making a bowl is more important than winning it?
Well, I don't think it's necessarily more important. I think every time we step on the field to compete, we're trying to win, and that's important. And if you're not trying to do that, then why are you even playing the game? So, we want to go out and win. I know Coach wants to go out and win with his team, and that's the competitor in you. And the way we run our program, everything we do is competitive. We want to win every single rep that we're doing. And so you're on the field and you're playing, yeah. You want to go out there and win the football game. This will be no different. And obviously it's a lot of build up when you make a bowl game. And you have those 3 or 4 weeks to get ready for the game, and all the things we just talked about, the bonding, the extra practices for the young guys, all those things are important. It's very important. But at the end of the day, when you get ready to play the football game, you want to win. There's no question about it. Otherwise, nobody would be in this sport, I don't think. I think these guys, when they go out and want to play and win the game, and there's times, I think, with bowl games that maybe teams don't want to be there, and that's what I was talking about earlier as far as the teams that want to be there, that they're excited about it, I think usually end up playing well and ended up having a great experience.
Yeah, I think more than anything, maybe not like basketball or baseball where you could play a game and then you got another one coming around the bend in a couple of days. Football is unique in the sense that you work almost an entire year for 12 opportunities. And if you do well enough in more than half of those opportunities, you're rewarded with an opportunity to play another one. And the competitive aspect, the developmental aspect of it, it's, as Coach mentioned, it's another time to be together with the team. It's another time to prepare, another time to put a game plan together, another time for the kids to get out on the field and compete their tails off. And, not everyone in the country is awarded that opportunity. And, there's a bunch of teams sitting at home right now, watching bowl games on TV or watching a playoff and, wishing they would have that opportunity. And, we're, Coach and I and our programs are very fortunate to have that. So, when you play 12 and you have an opportunity for the 13th one, I think you really have to cherish it because not everybody has that opportunity.
Joe, I know you said that the focus is obviously all week has been on winning this football game, but given the incident that did happen last week, obviously it might be kind of hard to focus on doing that. So my question is, what was the players' reaction and just kind of the team reaction to what happened, and then how hard was it to kind of galvanize the guys and diffuse that situation?
Yeah, honestly, like I talked about, it's the kids it's been addressed, and we've kind of moved on from it. And the key thing with the bowl, and you mentioned the term, teams that play well are generally able to eliminate or handle distractions and adversity, and they're able to prepare well, they're able to play with physicality, and they're able to execute. And, when we got down to the site, the first couple of days, the kids have some more things going on. The big message was have your mind and your feet in the same place. So if you're in a position meeting, have your mind and your feet there. When you're on the practice field, have your mind and feet there. If you're in an event, be there. If you have free time, do that. And I think our kids have done a good job kind of parcelizing their time and their focus. That we've been in meeting rooms, we've been on the field, and all those things. It's been 100% football, but they've also, like it is a reward, and you want them to enjoy themselves. So just in terms of that and distractions, the kids have, since it happened, we've moved on and we've been fine.
Scott, you mentioned, having fun in a bowl game. Is that an opportunity to add wrinkles to an offense and a game plan and do some different things kind of leading into this game than what you've done? Have you guys been able to add some things in the last few weeks?
Not really. You're gonna. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you what we've added right now.
You're not?
No, but now it's to me the first 2 weeks of practice. Really, we're really just base football. Really didn't work much on Mississippi State as far as just scheming and those type of things. We're trying to just run our offense, our defense, our teams. And then as you get closer to it, then obviously you start doing some game planning. But you're obviously going to have a few wrinkles here and there. I think both teams are going to do that. But it's not something where you're going to go in there and change everything you're doing and all that. You're going to be who you are. We've played 12 games at this point, and there'll be a few wrinkles off of what we've done all season, but not anything that's going to be over the top, I don't think.
Joe, obviously you talk about keeping focused, and obviously with Coach Marv leaving the running backs room
Yeah.
off to Florida State, how have you seen Naeem and John kind of take over that room and sort of bridge the gap there, at least in the last week or two?
Yeah, this is a time of year where those things are happening, where coaches have opportunities and they decide to pursue them. And, we wish those guys well, but kind of like you talk about with the players, you're going to have that next man in mentality. And between Naeem and John Shalala, they've done a great job handling the room. and the benefit of Naeem, who I think is a great young coach who's going to have a very bright future in this profession. He's played in this system under Coach Shoup at Penn State and had a lot of success as a player, and has been in that room. So really knows the ins and outs of the position, not just from a schematic standpoint, but from a teaching standpoint. And I thought it was a great opportunity for him to develop as a young coach as well. But we really kind of haven't missed a beat in the linebacker room.
Coach Setterfield, obviously you talked about the importance of winning this game, but with the way the last game went, I guess how important is there? A higher importance on winning this game in terms of the momentum this would give you guys going into the offseason?
Yeah, I mean, you certainly want to end on a high note. I think one of the things when you play a bowl game, and I've always said you're only as good as your last game. So this is going to be our last game until the start of the season next year. And so you have these next 6 or 7 months where whatever tastes in your mouth is kind of what you're going to be thinking about those next 6 or 7 months. And so you want to end on a good note and play well. They certainly didn't the last time out, and that's been a bad taste in our mouth the last month. And so to be able to come out and play a lot better, would be huge for us and important for us to be able to do that. I think more important, that's probably more important than really, honestly, winning the game. Now, we want to win the game. There's no question about it. But you want to play well. You want to lay it all out there. You want to play well. You don't want to have many mental errors. And then we'll see what happens as far as win and losing goes. But you want to play well. And I think for us, we need to be able to go out and do that. Because it carries that momentum throughout the whole off season. When you guys get back, we start school January 6th. So we're going to be right back here to Louisville in a week. So it's certainly going to be right in your mind of how you play at the end of this game.
Scott, can you play the guitar, or do you have any musical talent?
No and no. My son, who's with me, he's a senior in high school. He picked it up about 2.5 years ago, so I should have brought him because he can play it. He's good on the guitar.
Joe, you had 3 defensive players earlier in the week that you said were kind of banged up. How is Jaden and Errol and Jaquarius?
Yeah. In addition to Brian Cole and Cam not playing in the game, you hope you had that month to kind of get some guys healed up and get them ready to play. I'd say at this point, Jaden's probably doubtful, and Jaquarius and Errol are probable.
Scott, along those same lines, what's your health situation with your team? And without a lot of depth to start the season, how much did that factor into especially defense late? And how much has, some time away from just games maybe helped that group?
Yeah, again, we started the year not much depth to begin with. And I think for the most part this year we've stayed fairly healthy, really. Yeast is, got hurt second to last game, and he's out. He's still out. But other than that, all our guys are playing and healthy. And, I think you get to the end of the season, obviously going to be a lot of nicks, bruises, those type things. And so this enables our guys to get rid of all that and feel good again with your bodies. And, so I think predominantly most all our guys, except for Yeast, is available and will play.
Scott, Brian talked last week about the tackling and the poor tackling in the last game. How much did you go live during the bowl practices, and have you ever found a good mix of live and non-live in a bowl practice?
Yeah, I think really for the young guys, you can tackle a little bit more during bowl prep. I don't want to tackle the older guys, the guys that have been playing all year. They've already had those opportunities, and you get the bruises and nicks. You don't want to have to injure anybody throughout bowl prep. So young guys were able to tackle a little bit more. And then with the older guys, you're doing tackling. You're utilizing all the different things that we have to tackle with. The dummies and all those type things, and you're working on fundamentals with tackling. And so we certainly did at every practice. We can't get enough of that. We certainly have to get a lot better at tackling, and but I think as far as the live tackling goes, really we're just with the young guys.
Scott.
Joe, obviously Brian Cole's a guy that played a ton of snaps this year. How do you kind of plan to address nickel, and who's going to slide into that spot, and how have you kind of prepared for that for a guy that's played like 85% of snaps this year?
Yeah, certainly less than ideal, but respect Brian's decision to But Fred Peters is a guy that's played a lot in kind of our nickel and our dime situations on third down. Junior college guy who's got some game experience coming in. So when Fred's had the opportunity, you go back to the Abilene Christian game and some of the others, he's made some plays. So Fred will start. We'll roll with him, and he's had a good good bowl prep season, and we expect him to go out and play well.
Scott, how much does Becton's decision not to play impact your game plan and the sort of things you feel you can do?
Yeah, I mean, Adonis Boone will start right there, and he's, you know, the NC State game, basically the same lineup that we had in that game. You know, and we really didn't change much game planning, anything different than what we did. As you go back to the NC State week, you know, basically the same type game plan there, and then that we've done this week, you know. So, you know, you got to play the guys that are going to be here to be able to play, and you got to roll with what you got. You know, obviously, Becton was a great player for us, and, you know, a big presence in what we tried to do offensively. You know, but the rest of the guys will have to, you know, raise their game a little bit more and try to compensate for him not being there. And, you know, we feel like we got some good playmakers to get the ball to, and then up front, you know, those guys have gelled great, you know, over the last 3 weeks. Feel like they'll be in good shape.
We've got time for one more question.
Joe, Tommy came here from Penn State, obviously, with the hopes that he'd have a really big year in his first year as a college starter. Injuries and whatnot have probably prohibited that from happening.
Yeah.
But given that he has this one final chance to kind of make a statement in a college atmosphere, what do you think it would mean to him to have a big game and for you guys to win that game?
It's kind of gone full circle for Tommy this year. You know, we started off the season on fire, you know, got injured, you know, came back, maybe wasn't a little bit as effective, and got injured again, and Garrett was playing well. And, you know, I know it means a lot to Tommy as a player, you know, considering how his career was gone. I know it means a lot to his family for him to come out and play well in his last game, you know, before he has an opportunity to play at the next level. But it would mean a lot to me personally, just the relationship between Tommy and I from our time at Penn State and now here at Mississippi State, for him to come out in his last game as a college-eligible player and his last game at Mississippi State to play well and kind of put a closure on a real nice football career. I mean, it'll mean a lot to him personally, mean a lot to me, and certainly mean a lot to the team as well.